Good morning, everyone. I'm thrilled that the summer is slowly getting closer. I hope you do too. And I hope you are well and starting to feel the excitement of sunny days creeping closer. Today, we talk about what a strategy can do for you. Now, hopefully, this will open up your mind to innovative ideas that will give you a competitive advantage over the next door plumbing business. So, what does strategy mean? A strategy is the guiding principles by which a business operates, captured formally and officially on paper. In other words, a thought out guideline, a plan, a way of operating which the people working in the business need to follow. It also defines the way by which tasks are done, and it also gives direction to the managers and owners of the business, and it helps to create the wildly important goals that the business is aiming to achieve. But strategy is not new to this world. It has been around for many years. As far back as 400 years before Christ, the Chinese started to discuss tactics and strategies in the way they made war with their enemies. It was originally used by army generals and commanders in their fight against the enemy. Now, Sun Tzu, who wrote the book The Art of War, was a Chinese military general, a strategist, a philosopher, and of course a writer who lived during the Eastern Zhou period, which was between 771 and 256 BC. He played a very important role in the planning and commanding of the Chinese military operations. Now, he was famous for his quote on knowing yourself and your enemy. And by knowing all of this, you win battles. He said, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will all suffer a defeat. That's interesting. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. In other words, you will give away every battle. You will lose every battle. Now, for business, that is scary, how true that is. Even before you start thinking about ways of doing things, you need to know who you are, what your business stands for, what you are good or great at, and what problem are you solving for your client and the experience that you want to sell. Then you must know who your competition is, the next door plumbing business, what they are good or great at, what problem are they solving for their customers, and what experience are they selling. And only then can you start working on a method of attack, if I can call it that. What ways of doing things will you go with? How will you approach your target market? And how will you play to win in your industry and market? Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher, wrote a poem about strategy, which explains the importance of not. Most of times, we think about what we must do, but there's a very important part of strategy that is based on what we should not do. What products or service will we not offer? What type of customer will we choose not to serve? So he's saying at the end of the poem, but usefulness rises from whatever is not. Again, for business, it is very useful to determine what it is that we are not doing, which will more easily highlight what we are indeed doing or selling or producing. Strategy for business, as we know and understand it today, was introduced in 1799 by a French military thinker called Count Gibbet. But there was another general in the history that had the most impact on strategy, and his name was Karl von Clausewitz. That's just some interesting facts and names on the history of strategy. We're not getting into it. To get a little closer to modern history, Meg Whitman, a former CEO of eBay, explained the eBay strategy. Our strategy is as much the art of exclusion as it is the art of inclusion. She understood something about what they do and what they don't do. Now, I've said this in the past, I'm going to say it again today. You cannot be everything to everybody. You can be a specialist in water filtration systems and install just about any kind of filtration system, but that would be what you specialize in and do exceptionally well. Then don't try to be the master of pipelines, for instance. Having a well-formulated strategy will give you a helicopter view of what it is that your business does and where you are going. Tactics, on the other hand, talks about what exactly you will be doing to get you to that place you plan on going. It is the actions and tasks you plan on doing. In military terms, strategy is the long-range aircraft and missiles, while tactics refer to shorter-range aircraft and missiles. In business, we talk about strategy that is to achieve a goal, while tactics are the how to achieve the goal specifically. So let's move on and look at the benefits of strategy. What would be the benefits of strategy? You might ask. Well, thank you for asking. Strategy gives direction. Think of it as the place you want to go to. If you plan on going to the Eastern Cape, you need to travel to the east side of the country. If you plan on going to Northwest, take a guess which direction you need to travel. You guessed it, the northwest side of South Africa. If you think about your vision and your mission, you might have big goals of becoming the industry leader. Now, if you do this right, your strategy will get you there. Strategy inspires wise decisions. You can't be short-sighted when you develop a strategy for your business. You need to think bigger picture and consider your options wisely. So when you go on a trip of 1,000 kilometers, it might be wise to travel by air or motorized vehicle, a car or a bus or a truck. Walking there could take you a long time. If you plan on investing in new machinery so that you can become the industry leader, there will be no point in buying old technology. Rather, invest in new machinery that will give you that competitive edge and take you to the top of the industry. Strategy helps you make the best decisions for your business between what would be good or bad for the business. And strategy avoids competitive union. Now that means that you simply follow the plumber next door. When you develop your own strategy, you think of ways how to play to win instead of just playing not to lose. If you unite with your competition, in other words, you look at them for best practice, you are simply following the leader. What it then does in the market, it dilutes sales between you. When you have your own strategy, you can implement your own unique plan that will make you stand out from the crowd instead of just following the trend. Strategy helps you to measure success. When you have a written down strategy, you have something you can measure your actions and your tasks and activities against. Hence, you can measure your success. Not having a strategy then means to not have a way to measure your success or growth. Now, setting targets to achieve will help you to measure your progress. It will also help you to keep your focus on what is the end goal we are trying to achieve. Traveling that 1,000 kilometers, you can see how far you've come and how far you still need to go. Strategy increases satisfaction. It helps your employees, your team, to stay focused on and driven to get to the planned destination to achieve that wildly important goals. One of the most common reasons why people leave their jobs is because of the lack of job satisfaction. It is therefore very important that there is always a drive to achieve something in business. Having a strategy will mean set goals, which means having something to achieve, which will motivate teams of employees to make it happen. And then will mean greater job satisfaction. But wait, there's more. Strategy will help you to take advantage of the best opportunity out there. The other day, I was walking through the new renovated Checkers at our mall, and I was amazed at all the options of mugs available. Coffee mugs. It's not like there's a big shelf with only mugs. There's a small shelf of mugs, but then there are all the nice ones hanging all over the other shelves in the shop. You know what I mean? I want to buy new mugs for my mom, but I have to know which ones she would like. So I had to think about it. I had to think about her personality and her needs, the emotional and physical needs and the place she's at, where she stays and how she lives, and just simply what she would like. And then I need to decide on what I can afford on mugs. When you know who you are and what your market or customer wants, then you can strategically pick out the best opportunities out there. Strategy will make you aware of possible threats that will lead you to take action to avoid disaster. Thinking and contemplating a strategy forces you to think about what could potentially go wrong. What could be a hurdle or an issue or a problem, if you'd like, and what would need your undivided attention. You see, a well-formulated strategy is not a pie in the sky. It's not a warm and fuzzy feeling or a happily ever after story. It's more like a battle, a maze. And you need to find the best route and way of getting to the other side. You have to think about what could go wrong and in advance think about how you can deal with that. Strategy will help you to respond quickly and clearly to any problem that may arise. Of course, if you have thought of the problems and challenges that you will face when you implement your strategy and start steering the business in that direction, you would have thought about the responses and solutions that you would need to solve those problems. You can simply act on it. Strategy will help you to know your business and your potential customers better. Well, that is what a winning strategy is. It's knowing yourself, your competition, and your customers so you can play to win. If you haven't looked at a rugby game technically before, I want to invite you to try that. You can actually see that the Springboks, for instance, are very strategic about the game. They will take all opportunities for a penalty kick if they are a little behind in the scores. The moment the score turns to their favor, they will start kicking to the corners in order to go for a try. They know what they are good at, and they read the enemy as best they could. Part of the preparation for a game is to analyze the opponent's strategy, the way they play, how they approach certain scenarios, etc. That is being strategic. And strategy will help you to allocate your resources better. Now, I'm reminded of the power of the pride. A good while back, I told you how lionesses train and function in a pride when they go hunting. There will be one of them who will be the eyes and ears of the pack. Then one of them are trained to only go for zebra, and another is trained to bring down smaller game. They work strategically as a team, each one sticking to what they are good at and trained to do. When you have a well-formulated strategy, you will know what resource you need to do a specific job, what machinery you need, what tools, and the team you need. But it also helps to know where to invest money, where to do upgrades, where to sell off old machines, when to buy new ones, and who should be operating those machines. You see, a strategy is really looking and planning into the future, and it forces you to think about any and everything that could make or break your plan of getting where you want to be. So let's look into different types of strategy. You can create a strategy for just about any area of business, but you start off with a business strategy. That is basically the foundation of any of the other strategies that you want or need to develop. Out of the business strategy, you can create a marketing strategy, how you will be infiltrating your target market, who they are and where will you find them and what will you tell them. Then you can develop a sales strategy on how you will be selling to them. What are you telling them? What is the most effective sequence of events that would lead to a sale? A production strategy would be specific in terms of what will be produced or manufactured internally and what would you buy from a supplier or outsource to a company that could make your custom required stock. An employment strategy will direct the way we recruit talented staff. And then a training strategy would talk about what and how do we train our people and how often do we do refresher courses, etc. A customer retention strategy will talk about what we will offer the customer to let them stay with us and continuously buy from us. What products or services do we offer that would make the customer want to stick around? A growth strategy will be specific in the various life cycles of our business and what steps we will take to grow the business as fast as we plan or as slow as we can allow. Now, a succession strategy talks about how we will replace ourselves as the business owner or manager and how we will replace other key people in the business in order to keep the business running sustainable and in a continuous growing mode. I heard the other day of it's like a policy that you take out. It's insurance policy on your business. They call it key person insurance or something like that, where they that you can, if you have a key person in the business who if that person is not around and you they would maybe pass on or something would happen and they can't work, they can't function, they may be hospitalized or something, then your business is going to lose money. So what this insurance does, it pays out a certain amount to you that would help you to sustain the business financially until you can replace that person or until that person can actually work or function again. So it's very interesting, but I don't know much about the insurance. It's not my line of work. So I want to urge you to actually go and read up on it or call your broker and find out more about key person insurance. Now, have you thought of what will happen if you end up unable to work in your business tomorrow? Especially if you have people working for you, and even more importantly, if you have family members who are dependent on you. You need a plan for the emergencies, but you also need to think into the future for when you want to stop working. Someone will need to succeed you, or you need to have a plan of selling the business or handing it over to someone else. That's called a succession plan or strategy. There could be a lot of other strategies that I have not mentioned that you can think of. You can basically create a strategy for anything in your business and in your personal life. You can have a schooling strategy for your kids, putting money aside for their studies or taking out a policy that will pay for their tuition one day. You could have a retirement strategy for your parents or yourself and your significant other. You could dream about being financially strong and stable by a certain age, and you can create a strategy for yourself to get there. But for any and all strategies that you create, you need an implementation plan. Now, we can talk about that another time. Thank you so much for sticking around and paying attention. I'm absolutely convinced that you have planned a strategy before, but you might not have known that you have done that. I hope this info can help you become better at defining and writing that winning strategy that will take you and your business to the top. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much, Linda. There currently aren't any questions. We'll give 10 seconds or so just to see if there are any last minute ones. But thank you very much for joining us this morning and sharing this with us. Is there any last minute remarks here?
Just want to say, please take note of my number and my email address. You are welcome to contact me for any other information.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this morning.